Hey guys, I'm Rhonda Dracoulis with RK3 Designs, and this is a really fun finish. I use 3 different colors, very simple techniques. I'll walk you through the steps and you're gonna love the results. So stay tuned and enjoy the video. All right, so for the sample board that I'm gonna show you guys today, I'm gonna be using the Craft Coat. The Craft Coat is an inexpensive version to our higher end epoxies for the countertops. Great for small projects, great for small crafts. However, it does not have the UV protection. It does not have the high heat resistance. So you want to make sure that you're only using this project for small sample boards and things like that. I really like it. I get the feel of all of the same characteristics as our regular epoxy has at about $30 less a gallon. All right, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna come in with 3 different products. We're gonna start off with the Epoxy Dispersion. This is the thin version. All it is a way to help you mix your mica powders. I really like this. We used to make slurries out of alcohol. You can still do that, no problem, but I really like how the thin dispersion helps to take that those mica powders and really help dissolve them. All right, so I'm not gonna put that much, probably a little over a capful. And then I'm gonna come in with my black metallic. And we'll, nice good size right there. Mix that in there. Now I think I really want it to be metallic-y. All right, so I'm gonna take that and it's gonna help it to dissolve. Then when I add the epoxy, I'm not gonna get a lot of the little fishtails that you can often get if you don't mix up your mica powders really well. All right, so that was just the black mica powder. Now I'm gonna mix up, I know that my sample board is 5 square feet. Now, a little different than what we usually do. Usually it's recommended that we do 3 ounces per square foot, but I'm gonna do 2 ounces per square foot because I want this to be a very thin layer. Being thin is gonna cause it to set up a little quicker. I'm gonna be able to kind of manipulate it a little bit easier, and I'm saving product. Hey, what can I say? All right, so I'm gonna come in with the Craft Coat. You could definitely do this with the regular Stone Coat Countertop Epoxy. I just choose to do the Craft Coat because I know it's a sample board. All right, so 5 square feet, 2 ounces per square foot. So we're gonna mix up 10 ounces. And just like the regular epoxy, I like to mix my part B first. B is a little less viscous. So when I mix my part A, my part A is gonna fall down through part B and give me a little bit better and more accurate measurement. Now, if you don't do that, no harm, no foul, you'll still get a good outcome. Now I could choose to use a drill. I'm just gonna use my hand since it's not that much material. Gonna mix for 2 minutes. And also as I mix, I scrape my edges and then take all of that material that's on the edge of my bucket that's not thoroughly mixed and mix it into the whole product. That way I don't get sticky spots when I pour my material out on my surface. This works really, really well for me. I've never ever had any type of sticky issues on my surface, but depending on what product you use, you need to read the manufacturer's recommendation on how to mix your product. Also, the products that I use, Stone Coat Countertop, is 0 VOCs. So that's why I'm not wearing a mask. So for all of you that want to send me ugly comments about me not wearing a mask, I don't have to. 0 VOCs. But really guys, there are some epoxies out there that are dangerous to use. You need to protect yourself, protect your lungs, and wear a mask if needed. One way to tell if you're really mixing up your product right and long enough is once I pour this out, I'm gonna take this bucket and I'm gonna turn it upside down. I'm gonna wait a couple of days, and then that whole piece of dried epoxy is gonna pop out in one big glob. And my sides of my bucket should not be sticky. If the sides of my bucket are sticky and sticky on a consistent basis, that should be a red flag to you guys that you're not mixing up your product enough. So here's a cup that's 2 or 3 days old, had epoxy in, and I'll just let it sit for a couple of days. I pull it away from the edge, and the whole thing pops out. Now my cup looks brand new. I can use it over and over and over again. This, toss it away. Now I've got 10 ounces and I've got 3 cups. So I'm gonna eyeball it. If you guys are looking for an instructor that gives you exact measurements, you need to find somebody else. I'm not your gal. So I pour epoxy like I cook. All right, so here we go, black dye. Now I do know that I want most of my mixture, or at least half of my mixture I should say, to be clear. And the reason I want to do that is because that clear is gonna give me depth in there. So I'm gonna mix the other two, about half and half of the black opaque and the black metallic. Then I'll get the rest of it with the clear. So I guess ratio wise, I'm a little heavier on my clear than I am on the other two. All right, so let's go ahead and tint our black. And I'm using the Alumalite black opaque dye. What I really like about this dye is a little bit'll do ya. So just a couple of little drops. Well, that was a little more than a little drop, so I'm gonna be super opaque there. See, I told y'all, I mix like I cook. I just throw that stuff in there. So seriously, you do not want to put more than 10% of any additive by volume into your epoxy. If you do, you start kind of messing with the integrity of the epoxy and you weaken it. All right, so now let's mix up the metallic that was put in there with the thin dispersion fluid, and it melts like butter. You don't see any of the little dry spots that you can get when using a powdered mica flake or a mica powder. Love this stuff. All right, cool. All right, so now I'm gonna add a little bling. Now this is something that you guys could choose to leave out. You can choose to use more than what I use. You can even choose to use a different color. But anytime you add a glitter or something like that that's got some sheen to it, if you add it to your black matte opaque dye, it's going to really dull it. So what you're gonna do, the reason I'm doing it is you're just gonna kind of see this sparkle when the light hits it just right. This is not a high glittery finish, but it's gonna have just enough sparkle that when the light hits it, it's gonna look really cool. All right, so I'm just taking some diamond dust and we're gonna dump it in there. And that's about how much I put in there, okay? We didn't go crazy. You're really not gonna see it until the light hits it just right. And then you'll see a little bit of that diamond dust peeking through. Now you can also, I've done this recipe by bringing in some fine silver glitter that kind of raises your glitter factor up just a little bit, your sparkle factor I should say, and it does look really pretty. But for this particular recipe, I don't want it super sparkle. All right, here we go. For those of you that watch me consistently, you know I don't use a brush very often. I like to use my hands. But for this particular finish, I really like the pattern that the brush gives me. You could also use a foam roller to do this because we're doing it so very thin. It's really not conducive to use your hands, especially if you're doing this on a full-length countertop. I would highly recommend the brush or the roller. All right, so we're gonna come in first with the black opaque dye, and very random, guys. We're just gonna pour this all over the surface. Don't let yourself get into a habit of putting it down in a pattern. You want it very random, just like nature. You want that marbly look. All right, so I'm gonna dump that out. Then I'm gonna come in with the mica powder, the black mica powder, same thing. Just kind of filling in the gaps, very random. Let that sit out. And then last but not least, we're gonna come in with our clear. Now, guys, you could, if you want a little bit more bling than what I'm doing, I would suggest that you add a little bit of diamond dust to your clear, because that'll really take it over the top with your sparkle factor as well. All right, so our clear, we're gonna start filling in the gaps. So what our substrate is MDF, and I've taken the edges and I've hit it with a 1/4 inch round over bit to cause the edge to be rounded so that my epoxy is gonna flow really nicely over the edge. I've painted it with 2 coats of the Stone Coat Countertop black epoxy paint. You can use Behr paint and primer. You can use Benjamin Moore. You can use any kind of latex. Just be sure that if you do use a latex paint, that you let that paint off gas for at least 24 hours. The Stone Coat Countertop undercoating, I only have to let it dry for about 4 hours. So I really like that when I'm in a hurry. Actually, what I'm gonna do is hit it with a little bit of heat just to help it. It's kind of cool in here tonight. It's just gonna help me to get this to move. All right, so very lightly, I'm gonna just start cross hatching. And like I said, the brush, I want to see the brush strokes. That's what gives a really cool finish. Don't over meld. You want to be able to see separation in your colors. If you over meld, all you've done is take that clear and you've mixed it and you've diluted your other 2 colors. So you're just hitting it enough to get your substrate completely covered. All right, make sure you don't have any dry spots or surface tension. You can just dab them a little bit with your brush. All right, I'm gonna come in and hit my edges. Now I'm making sure that I'm actually painting those edges, because I'm not gonna have as much epoxy rolling over these edges. I wanna go ahead and make sure that I get plenty of color and epoxy on those edges. All right, I want to come back. If I have any surface tension, I'll just tap them with my finger. You're gonna have a little more surface tension by using less material than you would if you were at the full 3 ounces per square foot. But it's not a big deal, just tap them with your finger. All right, guys, this looks so cool. I love this, super cool. Because we're at 2 ounces per square foot instead of 3 ounces per square foot, the self-leveling that happens with the epoxy is gonna be slower. It doesn't have as much material on the top to push it out. So my pattern is gonna wanna stay more like it is than if I were to use more material, and over time it would start to move. That's why I like just coming in here with 2 ounces per square foot. But make sure if you do that, you have to be able to move that material with a brush or a roller, because if you just pour 2 ounces per square foot onto your surface, it's not gonna self-level by itself unless it has some help. This could be a finish all on its own. But you know me, I'm gonna go to the next step. But if I were to walk away Rhonda and leave this alone, I would come back tomorrow and I would put a clear flood coat. I would use 3 ounces per square foot, which is the recommended amount. I would probably add just a little bit of diamond dust just to kind of take that sparkle up, and I would pour the flood coat. Then what I would do is, this is really pretty. I would go, I think 50-50 on my decision whether to use the matte ultimate top coat or the high gloss ultimate top coat. I'm a fan, if you guys know me, I'm a fan of the matte. I just think it makes everything look real instead of real plasticky. But this is such a pretty finish that it could definitely pull off the gloss. All right, guys, so what should I do? Should I stop here or should I go to the next step? Let me know. Leave me some comments below. We know that this is a gorgeous finish, but now I'm gonna show you 2 more recipes that we're gonna build off of this very basic recipe. I'm gonna do half the board. I'm gonna add some white to give you kind of a white marbly look. And then on this side, we're just gonna do kind of a black granite look. All right, so keep that in mind. We're doing 2 different finishes on the same board. All right, so what we're gonna do first, I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna add a little bit of white. Now, because it's white, I mixed up the Art Coat by Stone Coat Countertop. It is the same as our regular countertop, but it has a lot of UV protection. So anytime you're doing anything white, a white Carrera, a white background, white accents, you'll want to use the Stone Coat Countertop Art Coat. All right, so this piece has been setting here about probably 25 minutes from when we first laid it out and we first started videoing. So it's about 25 minutes old, and this is pretty fresh epoxy. So it's gonna kind of want to flow over the surface a little bit, and that's kind of what I'm going for. All right, so remember, our left side is gonna be kind of our marbly look. All right, so I'm gonna come in here and I'm literally gonna just start laying down some colors. Now, I've seen this finish done in a few high-end homes where their countertops are this finish, and then they come in with white cabinets, and it's absolutely stunning. All right, so we're gonna let that sit for just a second, hit it with a little bit of heat. Then we're gonna come over with some black Rust-Oleum gloss spray paint. All right, make sure it's the gloss. You don't want to use the flat or the matte. And we're gonna do a really cool little light fogging over the top of it. I'm not doing 100% coverage. All right, guys, you can kind of still see through the finish. Now I'm gonna come back. I've set my sprayer to give me not a super fine mist, but kind of a heavier drip type of a spray pattern. This is 91% isopropyl alcohol, and it's mixed with the black, nope, I lied. It's mixed with the pewter metallic, and it's gonna give kind of a really pretty silvery shimmer. All right, I'm coming up nice and high, and I'm just kind of I'm barely squeezing the trigger. I'm not squeezing the trigger hard at all. I don't want a lot of alcohol on this finish. Now that's about all of the colored mica that I want. Now I'm gonna come in with just clear alcohol, do the same thing. Lightly mist. Again, I don't want too much alcohol on the surface. Now guys, you cannot judge this off the bat. You have to let it set. You have to kind of let it do its thing. I'm gonna hit it a little bit more. I had a little bit of spray paint there I wanted to cover. Okay, so I've let it set, I don't know, 5-6 minutes. long enough for the alcohol to evaporate. All right, so this looks really cool, and it's gonna continue to move just a little bit, but I think what I wanna do is I wanna soften it down just a little bit, and I wanna add a little bit more granification or black spray paint to the top because I want it to be a little more muted. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come in with my brush, and remember, we only have 2 ounces per square foot on this surface. So I can really start to kind of manipulate it and drag it a little easier than I could if I had the full 3 ounces. All right, so I'm gonna very softly come over with my brush, and I'm just kind of blurring it so it's not in your face white. I'm just very softly dragging that brush in kind of a crisscross type of a manner. Now, you don't want to wait too long to do this because what's going to happen is your epoxy would be too set up and you wouldn't really get a blur. You would just kind of cause the epoxy to kind of just blob up. Now, because it is only 2 ounces, I'm actually seeing some brush strokes, which is what I'm going for. I'm actually causing the spray paint to kind of drag over. I really like that. Now, this is a cool finish as well. Having that silver kind of stay on top, but I'm gonna kind of play with it a little bit more, you know, because I can. So I'm gonna come back over it ever so often, not over the whole finish, but just a little pieces with the brush, just to give it a little bit more movement. I like that, yeah, that's kind of cool. That changed up the whole look. That really looks cool. Now we're gonna refracture it, but add a little bit more spray paint. Not a lot, everything is in moderation. It may look like I'm putting a lot of spray paint on here, but I'm really not. Pay attention as I spray right now. You can still see through the spray paint, you can still see my pattern underneath. Now, I don't want any more color. I don't want any more mica powder, but I do want to come in with just the clear and hit, and that's going to give me a really cool granification. Now I am done. Love this. This is stunning. Now, if you were going for a very soft black granite with a little bit of detail and a little bit of sparkle, this is your number right here. So let me know, left or right, which one do you like? Let me know in the comments below what you think about this finish, maybe where you would put this finish, maybe what color would you paint your cabinetry to go with this. I love to hear what you guys suggest. If I deserve it, guys, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel. Our numbers are going through the roof, and it is all because of you guys. I appreciate you so much. Check out our website, RK3designs.com, for all the products. We do sell products, guys. And also, sign up for our newsletter. We send out monthly newsletters with special exclusive promo codes for our products to you when you sign up for our newsletter. We're getting ready to add our 2022 schedule. Our 2021 schedule has been amazing. Every single one of our classes were booked months in advance. Thank you for that. But we're getting ready to put our 2022 schedule up, and we're super excited. Once again, sign up for our newsletter. You'll be the first ones to get that news. All right, guys. Well, I guess until next week, I will see you in the next video. Remember, don't be scared, move forward, and be creative.